Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll have the latest on what could be the final days of the legislative session. And artist and author Bob Bozbel talks about his new book full of stories and illustrations of the Old West. That's all next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
On a Horizon, I'm Ted Simons. We could be nearing the end of the legislative session. Here with the latest on the rush to sine die is Jim Small of the Arizona Capital Times. Jim, good to see you again. It's our legislative update each week. You guys join us here. Is this the last week you're going to be joining us for this?
Maybe. I think potentially. I think certainly legislative leadership wants to get done tomorrow. That's their goal, is to do work tonight, work into the night, and work into this evening, and then come back tomorrow and hopefully finish things up and kind of, they're on that sprint to the finish line, definitely.
Why are they sprinting to the finish line? I mean, I understand it's a nice thing to say you wrapped it up quickly, but do they have to wrap it up quickly?
No, they certainly don't have to wrap it up this quickly, but they are. When they got that budget done, at about 55 days into session, and legislative sessions are basically they shoot for 100 days, and I think they're required to go no more than 100 days, and they can extend it, and there's some ways to get past that. But so when you get a budget done in 55 days, usually the budget is something that's done near the end of session. So in a 100-day session, you figure the budget's probably done on day 80, 85. So when you get it done in 55, you really remove the biggest obstacle to going home. The one thing legislators have to do every year is pass a state budget. They've already done that, and they did that a month ago. So essentially, they've been finishing up their committee work, and then they had a few hundred bills that were alive at some point in the process, and they've kind of moved through. And as of this morning, they had about 160 bills that were still alive. Although I think realistically, probably much closer to 100 that are actually viable at this point. And leadership kind of decided, okay, well, that's enough. We can get through that kind of a workload and vote bills on the floor, debate them on the floor, vote them, pass them back and forth between the chambers, and do the ministerial stuff that needs to happen, and we can go home.
What about public hearing, public input? What about hearings in general? I mean, it just seems like that is a forgotten concept at times down there.
Yeah, and that's an argument that we've heard a lot of this year, and it crops up especially during things like the budget process and things like that. The deadline for committees to hear bills ended, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think that was when we had that deadline. So all of the committees except for 2 stopped hearing bills at that point, and so there were a couple of the appropriations committees met a couple more times and heard some bills, and there was opportunity for committee testimony, although that's always at the prerogative of the chairman how much of that they want to hear, and so really we're kind of at that stage where the public's had their chance to weigh in on the legislation in committee form, and now they're on the floor, and that's that's essentially where you get the speeches and the amendments on the floor and the really drawn out debate. So of which there was one today, and I'm sure that there's going to be a couple more before they go home.
What was the big debate today?
It was over a bill that would outlaw the practice of collecting early ballots.
The ballot harvesting.
The ballot harvesting bill that essentially would make it a crime for groups, for volunteers to go out and pick up ballots from people who have already voted them, but maybe it's too late to drop them in the mailbox to get them to the elections department on time to be counted.
All right, and so that's being discussed. Let's talk about things that have already happened here. The governor signs this abortion bill, which includes the idea of doctors having to inform of a quote-unquote abortion reversal possibility. Talk to us about this.
So the bill, the general point of this bill was to say that on the exchange, the health insurance exchange that's required by the Affordable Care Act, Arizona passed a law a couple years ago that said if the state has an exchange, it can't offer abortion coverage as an elective coverage. Well, the way it was written, it said only if the state runs an exchange. Arizona didn't run an exchange. The federal government is running the exchange in Arizona. So the underlying point of the law is to basically clarify that, to change that part to say not just if the state runs one, but any exchange that operates in Arizona can't. So it was essentially the legislature expressed its will about a policy a couple of years ago. The law was written poorly, and so now they have to go back and fix it in order to make it do what the legislature said they wanted. Then an amendment got tacked on in the House that did exactly what you're talking about, where in these medication abortions, where a woman can take a series of pills, kind of a regimen of medications that will induce an abortion. that now the doctors have to provide information, have to tell the patient that it is possible to reverse it and that time is of the essence, and they have to provide them with information to basically let them know of where they can go to have that procedure done.
And that aspect of the bill is getting national attention because a lot of folks out there are saying there's no medical evidence for this.
It is, and there certainly is not any widespread medical evidence for it. One of my colleagues spoke with the head of the group that represents OBGYNs in the state, and she said this is basically telling us to commit malpractice because this is not scientifically proven. There's no evidence, no evidence that the procedure that was discussed in the House committee works or that it does anything. And essentially it was a doctor, a local doctor who was an anti-abortion activist who said that he has treated women with progesterone, which is a hormone, and after they've taken the first part of the pills, the abortion pill regimen, that he's treated them with progesterone and been able to save the fetus, and the woman's gone on to have a baby. And the woman that we talked with, the head of this OBGYN group, said that's not the way this works at all. The progesterone isn't what does it. It's the fact that they stopped taking the medication they were told to complete the procedure. So they said if in that case when you stop that medication, about half the time the abortion is not going to be completed, and the woman will end up carrying a baby to term. So. Essentially what they're saying is, we have to tell these people that there's a procedure that can undo this, but that's really not what's happening, and there's no studies that say that this is the case, and they fear that it could potentially jeopardize medical licenses, and as well as maybe give false hope or even make the decision that these women are making even more difficult than it already is.
Governor signed it, though. We saw a picture tweeted out by Kathy Herod, who was very much behind the bill. Apparently she was with him when he signed it. I don't know who else was there, but she was certainly there. Before you go, now he signed the craft brew bill, the veto of the police ID, but the one involving animal abuse I think is interesting politically. A couple minutes left here. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so this is a bill that essentially it would have changed some of the animal abuse statutes as it relates to agriculture and ranching and farming and things like that. Made some of the laws, essentially the ranchers feel that some of the laws as applied to the ranching industry and the practice of ranching aren't fair, and so they wanted to essentially loosen some of the animal abuse statutes with regard to what they do with livestock. And this is an issue that's been around for a number of years now at the Capitol. It's always been a big fight, and understandably when it comes to animal abuse issues. But this was one where the Humane Society, after this bill got passed, the local Arizona Humane Society and even the National Humane Society really stepped up and took on a role I don't think we've really seen them take on in the past, and were very strong advocates for it. And they did something interesting that has a lot of people wondering if this is actually kind of what led to the veto. Was they found when Governor Ducey was still candidate Ducey, and he got endorsed by Joe Arpaio, he had a statement on his website where he said, this is, I pledge that I'm going to protect animals, and I'm not going to support any kind of weakening of our animal abuse statutes or carving out any kind of exemptions for specific industries. And so they highlighted that, they dug that quote up from his website and said, hey, Governor, you made this campaign promise, we'd really like it if you kept it. And it was something that caught a lot of people, got a lot of attention, and I think you can't help but wonder if it also got a lot of attention up on the 9th floor.
I got to tell you, the Humane Society really came out strong on that, as you mentioned. We don't think we've seen anything like that before. Bringing that up, I think they played a pretty big factor on there.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the stronger messages I think that a lot of people heard.
All right, we'll have much more, of course, on the Journalist Roundtable Friday, but good to have you on the legislative update, and perhaps we'll see you again next week. Perhaps not.
Perhaps not.
All right.
hear from you. Submit your questions, comments, and concerns via email at arizonahorizon@asu.edu.
Arizona author, artist, and historian Bob Boesbell is out with another unique look at the people and places of the Southwest. It's an illustrated compendium of stories and curiosities titled True West Moments, Where Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. Here now to talk about his new book is, oddly enough, Bob Boesbell.
Oddly enough.
Good to see you again.
It's good to be here.
Why'd you write this book?
You know, this book's been coming for a long time because I grew up here. I grew up in Kingman. And I noticed early on that our history is really kind of weird. But I got kind of upset when the history-minded people started sucking all the strange out of our history. And I thought somebody's got to put the strange back into Arizona history. And so I took that on as my duty.
I think historians, to make history come alive, you've got to point out certain things and have fun with them. And boy, you've sure done it on this book.
Well, thank you. And it's been a labor of love. And these True West Moments have run in the Arizona Republic now for about 4 years. So I've done like 250 of them. And I thought, you know what? I need to put these together in a book and just tell the story so that people can enjoy it.
Did these come out of the Western Cable Channel, the stuff that you were doing for them, or perhaps still doing for them, as far as the bumpers and the interstitials and things?
Interstitials, I didn't even know what that word was until about 20 minutes ago, but thank you. Yes, I did bumpers on the Western Channel for about 10 years. But I was doing True West Moments at the same time, and of course I do True West Magazine, so they all kind of tied together.
Very good. Okay, so these stories are not exclusive to Arizona.
No. But it's a little bit Arizona-centric because this is where I'm from.
So let's start with named by enemies, kind of a lost in translation sort of thing. What are we looking at here?
Well, what we're looking at is that the Apaches, Apache's not an Apache word. That's what's so weird, okay? What happened was that the conquistadors, the Spanish, were coming through here looking for the 7 cities of gold, and they were out at Zuni, and while they were there, a bunch of renegades stole all their horses, and so they asked the Zunis, they go, who are those guys? And they said what it sounded like to them was Apache, which meant enemies. And so the Apaches did not call themselves that. And later they were said, oh, you're Apaches. And they were like, what are you talking about? We're the Dene. But so Apache's not even an Apache word. When the Spanish asked the Navajos who built all the ancient pueblos, they said ancient enemies. And that came out as Anasazi.
Interesting.
And when the Pima were asked who their neighbors were, they said as a joke, the Bean Eaters, which came out as Papago, okay?
Right.
And then the Pimas, they were asked by all the Anglos coming in here, they were saying, well, what's that over there? And they go, Pima, which means I don't know. And they would go, what about that over there? I don't know, Pima. And so they call them the Pima, which is essentially the I don't know people. But the real idiots in this, of course, are us, you know, the clueless.
No one kind of went the second step and went, well, hey, let me ask you a different way then.
Yeah.
No, it just stayed the way it was.
And that's why the Papago changed their name in 1986 to the Tonahoodham. And I'm butchering that because I know they made that name up so guys like me can't pronounce it right. And we deserve it.
Just quit calling us bean eaters, in other words.
Yeah, right.
All right, now speaking of language, cowboy lingo is another one of your stories here.
Well, I love it that cowboys are so creative and they mangle the language in a very creative way. And somebody isn't just lazy, they're always sitting on the south side of their pants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something isn't loud, it's as noisy as a foghorn in a funeral parlor, okay? Nobody is merely blind, they're blind as a rattler in August, okay? If somebody doesn't have courage, they're all gurgle and no guts. Your pal is more than brave, he's got sand, and if you want to know how much, he'll fight a rattler and give him first bite. Isn't that great? Isn't that great?
That's fantastic. But you know, it reminds me of Blazing Saddles when they talk about frontier gibberish. I mean,
Yeah.
you get to the frontier, it's kind of a whole new world as far as linguistics are concerned.
Here's another thing, it's not in the book, but I'm working on this right now, is remember when people used softer oaths when they would do, you know, well, dag nabbit, you know.
Oh, sure,
you know,
yes.
And
yes.
that's because men mostly didn't want to swear around women and children. And of course today women and children swear like sailors, so
Dang 'em.
so when did that end? Dern if know.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Didn't mean to jump in there. All right, next one, blazing polls, blazing politicians here. This was amazing in New Mexico.
Well, you know, it's heartening to realize that our politics are so ridiculous and so volatile, but it was worse in the Old West. Now get this, in 1871, political season, election season, in Mesilla, New Mexico, which at one time was part of our state. Remember that? You've ever seen
Sure,
when the state was split down
yes.
the middle, and the north part of the state was in New Mexico, south was here. So it's Mesilla. And they had this really smart idea that the Republicans would march around the plaza one way, banging drums and talking about their platform, and the Democrats would go the other way. Well, every time they came around, and they were all, of course, drinking to get smarter, and every time they would come around, they would swear at each other. And finally, on the third pass, someone beamed a Republican right between the eyes with an axe handle. Everybody pulled out guns. And they covered it up. They don't know how many, but upward of 500 shots were fired, and over 15 people died, and maybe 50. We don't even know because people drugged their dead away.
15 dead. You had I think you had 50 wounded in the storm.
Yeah.
Good gracious.
Isn't that amazing?
This is like, what 1871?
Yeah,
this wasn't all that
1871.
long ago.
No, but it's heartening to me because we're not that bad yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Old Pine Top.
I love
is
it.
next.
I love this story because we have this idea. Well, Walt Rigney he was a saloon keeper up on the Mogollon Rim, and he had a really bad haircut, and his hair stuck out, and so the soldiers would come in there and drink beer, and they called him Old Pine Top. Well, then after the wars ended, a lot of people started building cabins around there, and so when it came time to name the town, even though it's the largest stand of ponderosa pine in the area, they named it Pine Top, after a bushy-haired bartender, not the pine.
I thought it was, that's a fantastic story, because Pine Top's kind of pristine in some ways, a little classy,
And now when you go through there, you know the real story.
You think of some guy's hair, A, and B, that the town was basically built around a saloon.
I know, well, so many towns were.
Yeah, that's true, but, okay, Cold-Hearted Roommates, what's this all about?
Well, in 1880, the Earps and Doc Holliday came to Prescott. And the Earps went on to Tombstone, but Doc Holliday, the legend says he went on a roll of Faro winnings, and he ended up rooming on Gurley Street, I think it was, and his roommate was John J. Gosper. And I was doing research on this, and I thought, man, that name sounds familiar. I should know who that is. And finally I realized it was the acting governor of Arizona. So here you have Doc Holliday, a cold-blooded killer and gambler, and dentist, by the way, rooming with the governor of Arizona. And how could have Doc Holliday, this is what historians want to know, how could Doc Holliday have sunk so low as to room with a politician?
Really?
That's terrible.
It's got to have standards, for goodness sake. All right, our next one is a Nazi Western. Explain, please.
This blew my mind. In 1936, a movie company came here, Der Kaiser von Kalifornien, which in German, I believe, is the Emperor of California, and it allegedly told the story of John Sutter, who was a German-Swiss trader, who, of course, discovered gold in California, and it was allegedly going to tell his story. They filmed in the Grand Canyon. They filmed at Sedona, in the Sedona Rocks, okay? The movie came out, and, of course, it took shots at American capitalism, and it also made a subtle, or not so subtle feint, that the Germans deserved California for the motherland, okay? Now, Hermann Goebbels, okay, he pronounced the film wonderful, and Hitler had it in his library as one of his favorite films.
That is absolutely amazing.
Filmed in Arizona.
Okay, all right. Germany wanted California, huh?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't all they wanted, but but the film made the claim that they deserved it. He was part German.
Yeah, okay. Deadlines missed. What is this all about?
Well, you'll love this one, okay, because basically it's about how industrialists are always amping up the population claims, and journalists are always trying to set them straight. And that's what happened. It was in 1859, and silver capitalist Sylvester Maury went back east, and he was talking about how much immigration was here and how wonderful it was. And the newspaper editor, Edward Cross, first newspaper in Arizona, and he took him to task, and the guy challenged him to a duel. And so they met in Tubac, and they had Burnside rifles, which is an odd thing, and they at 40 paces. And Sylvester Cross was showing off and shooting the pears off of a prickly pear cactus. He was shooting all the fruit off of it. And they got ready to shoot. The one shot went quick, and he missed. And they all, and then no blood flowed, is what they said. But here's the real reason for the get-together is they had a big keg of whiskey, and everyone lined up, because if you want to know about politics in Arizona, follow the booze, okay?
And keep the rifle shots away from the keg of whiskey. Don't make any extra holes there. All right, I found this one interesting. Chihuahua. Okay, I mean, everyone's grown up with that as a saying.
Yes.
What are these, just about dogs, or talking about Mexico? What is this about?
Well, I always thought it was just this, this exclamation that somebody made famous in Tucson, Ay Chihuahua. And I was in Mexico studying the Apache Wars, and we were near Creel, Mexico, and our driver was taking us back to the hotel, and all of a sudden a drunk driver pulled out and came right towards us. And I was sitting in the front seat, and I just instinctively said, "Ay Chihuahua." I don't know why I said it, for the sake of my people I was with. And the driver said, "Ay Chihuahua, cuantos Apaches, cuantos Indios sin Huaraches." He just said it, just like that. And I said, "Why did you say that?" And he said, "Oh, it's an old saying around here." And what it really means is, yikes.
Yeah.
How many Apaches are there without sandals? Because at the time, all the Hispanics in northern Mexico wore sandals, but the Apaches wore calf-high deerskin.
So you knew that they were
yeah.
Apaches.
And so I found it amazing that this was like 4 years ago, that the full saying is still in use 100 years later after the Apache Wars.
So basically, Ay Chihuahua, when we say it north of the border, and especially someone like myself says,
Yeah, right.
it's a shortened version
It's a shortened
of a longer
version
saying
of the longest saying.
that is still being used.
Yes.
Linguistics are amazing.
Oh,
right?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He who yawns. This is with Geronimo?
Yes, Goyathli was his given name, and usually in the Apache custom at that time, they were named for a significant thing that the person did. That's where you get rain in the face. That's where you get cut nose. That's where you get fun.
Yes.
One of them named. And but Goyathli was his name. He who yawns, because he was yawning all the time. Well, I thought it was ironic that he grew up, and when he was fighting his enemies in Mexico, the Mexican soldiers yelled out that this guy fought like San Jeronimo. San Jeronimo. And so the Anglos, of course, chopped that off and made it J, this strong G.
Yeah.
And he became Geronimo. Not bad for a guy who yawns.
Yes. Well, these conquistadors of the West, we just named everything. Just
We
stomped
named
over everything.
We named everything wrong.
Yes,
That's
just
the main
just
thing.
throwing things out there.
And the things that we didn't name wrong, then idiots changed it to something else anyway. Yeah.
All right, last one here. Sholo versus a straight flush.
Love this one because as the story goes, two ranchers up on the rim, Corydon Cooley and Marion Clark, they decided that the valley wasn't big enough for them, and so they played a card game to find out who would have to leave. And so on July 4th, 1876, they sat down and played 7-Up, which was a popular cowboy game at the time. And while dealing the cards, Clark said, "Mr. Cooley, if you can show low, you win." And he turned over the first card, and it was the deuce of clubs, and replied, "Show low it is." Now, the people that live there are just thankful that he didn't call for a straight flush.
All right. You told that one before. All right. These are fantastic. I've heard the Sholo before. I had not heard the old Pine Top one. Most of these I hadn't heard before.
Yeah.
When you draw the drawings, when
Yes.
you do the illustrations, do you look historically, or are you just kind of making it in your head, trying to... there's no pictures of old Pine Top, are there?
Well, I haven't found one yet. That doesn't mean there isn't one.
Right.
Okay. But to answer your question, I'm always looking at old photos to try to get that right, because the worst thing you can do is look at movies, and movies are so wrong.
Yes,
When you're looking at something from the 1950s, a Western, you're really looking at styles from the 1950s. It's reflective of that
Right.
time. So I always am looking at old photos that go, that's interesting. They have spring bottom pants. They got, their cufflinks on that are attached to the sleeve of their jackets. They're just the little details like that I'm obsessed with, and that's what I try to capture.
Last thing, before you go, we got like 30 seconds left, so it's got to be quick here. Did you ever think you'd be doing this right now with your life?
Well, I always knew that I wanted attention. I think I've accomplished that, and I've always loved the West. I've just loved the West. I love our state, and I just want to tell some history with a bark on.
Well, all right. Well, you obviously love what you do. Congratulations on yet another very interesting and successful book. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Thursday on Arizona Horizon, we'll see how Arizona and Phoenix fare in a new report on the nation's top job-creating areas. And it's time again for Southern Exposure, our monthly look at news from south of the Gila. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.